Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rachak, with our double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the whole free elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and wherever you may be, Shalom, Nasharah, Shalom. All right, we're going to get to another various articles, jump right into it. So it says South Korea claims North Korean troops will fight for Russia and Ukraine starting on November 1st. All right. South Korea claims North Korean troops will fight for Russia and Ukraine starting on November 1st. And this is a topic that has already been talked about. All right. But as far as them actually in battle, um, we're not sure. This article says November 1st. For all we know, they could already be over there fighting. It said not sure. It says the National Intelligence Service, the NIS, South Korea's preeminent spy agency, released images this week of what it says are North Korean troops training at military bases in Russia's far eastern region. The roughly 12,000 North Korean troops who are said to be training at these Russian bases represent the first wave of many, says the NIS, to join the Vladimir Putin regime in its efforts to take back land currently known as Ukraine. Says North Korea is reportedly, and Putin actually, when he did that Tucker Carlson meeting, he explained why he was doing what he was doing as far as the land goes. All right, and he wrote out history, pertaining to it. So they feel like that's part of their land, so they feel like they're going to take it back. And it probably went back further, but you could think way back to the Crimea Bridge, all right, and all the annexation that Russia was doing, and things kind of been sparking up since then. So it says North Korea is reportedly so committed to Putin's cause that it is sending members of its Special Forces Division to train alongside Russian troops for the much larger military melee soon to come. Yeah, and that big melee is going to be ultimately all nations fighting in what is known as World War III Armageddon. Okay, what tells you in Joel, all right, to wake up the mighty men, all right, prepare ye, these men for war. Just paraphrasing. Matter of fact, let's get that. So let's go over here to Joe. Come on, my screen is jumping. Come on. I mean, not Joe. I'm supposed to go to Joel. Joel chapter 3. So Joel 3 and 9 says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, talking about these heathen nations. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. All right. And that's why you see these different nations that seem to be smaller, lesser powers, all right, preparing to fight in these bigger wars. Okay. Because their military allegiance, all right, has allowed them to gain certain weapons, technology, systems, and things of that nature. All right. Even acquire what it takes to make a nuke. Okay. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Did the cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shabbat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, the harvest is ripe. Come and get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. All right, and that's going to be that World War III, where all the nations are gathered down to the valley of Yahweh Shabbat. As a matter of fact, let me get this one as well, because we mention this from time to time. All right. Actually, I want the other one in the Revelation. Or is that the one? Because it's mentioned in two places. Let's see if that's the one or not. It's got to be it. Because I believe the Euphrates is mentioned in two different scriptures. Just want to see what's down here. It's probably what I'm looking for. Okay, just wanted to look. I know it's mentioned in two different places, but this is probably the scripture I'm looking for anyways. Talking about the Euphrates River. So it says, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared, right? So if you look on the map, you can see pretty much where the, what is it called, the Persian Gulf. And you have the Tigris and the Euphrates stemming out of there. So what's east of there? Okay, if you're looking down straight, I guess there's no other way, unless you got it upside down, but if you're looking just straight down at the map, it's going to be everything to the right over there, okay? And there's different, nations from the east that will be fighting, right? That's why it's called a world war, okay? Um, so any other scriptures I want to get? Matter of fact, let me get one more here. Isaiah. All right, Isaiah 14:9. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirred up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. Okay? It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. And they're going to do what? They're going to gather together, all right, in the so-called Middle East, all right, in Asia, all right, to do battle one against another, okay? That's why the Lord tells us in Zephaniah to wait ye upon me to the day that I rise up to the prey. My determination is to gather the nations. We may get that one. It says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become as weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Yeah, nations that are able to, fight on a world stage on these battlefronts. All right, using weapons, technologies, different systems, defensive systems, and even ultimately nuclear missiles and things. All right. It says, well, actually, you won't have to read the next one. I just want to read that. But it does go into talking about America, though. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, with the noise of thy vials, the worms spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Right? Because ultimately, America will not make it out of World War III. So, and that's just the end game.
It's like I can still go hang out with people, but like not until like after 10.
All right, so Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 8. It says, therefore wait ye upon me, said Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. The prey being these heathen nations. It says, for my determination is to gather the nations, and I may assemble the kingdoms, okay, to pour upon them mine indignation. Assemble them so I can send Yahweh back, all right, and destroy them all at once. And the scriptures talk about how he had on his head many crowns. He's not literally going to have many crowns like, like 300 to do, coming with all those skulls or whatever. He's not going to have a bunch of crowns in his hands or on his head or whatever the case may be. It's just symbolic of how he's going to take down all the remaining heathen nations. It says to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. All right. So you can get back to this article here. There it is right there. All right. So it says North Korea is reportedly so committed to Putin's cause that it is sending members of its Special Forces Division to train alongside Russian troops for the much larger military melee soon to come. The suspicions of direct military cooperation between Russia and North Korea, raised by foreign media outlets, have been officially confirmed, the NIS said in a statement. It says, we will continue to track and confirm the movement of military cooperation between Russia and North Korea through close intelligence cooperation with allied countries. And yeah, the scriptures talk about Russia being a guard to these other nations, man. Okay? He's going to be the one that's going to be pretty much at the, I guess you could say, forefront. Okay, Russia has more, missile capability than America, and the technology in their systems is actually better than what America has. Okay, so with just that alone, there's no America making it out, okay, of World War III. But then you have to think about it, like it's recorded in Revelation chapter 17. You're going to have all the other nations that are with, Russia, the BRICS and the BRICS Plus, and then you also are going to have America's own allies to turn against. So if Russia wasn't enough on its own, then you're going to have everyone else joined together. So there's no making it out of World War III for America. All right, that's why we tell you over and over and over. All right, because we don't care about the heathens. If you're an Israelite, all right, if you're not seeking the Lord now, as it says in Ezekiel, the Lord will leave you here and melt you. Okay, because you have to get taken up to the chair. There's no escape from America. All right, like the old movie, Snake Plissken. All right, which he was I don't know which was a spinoff, because I mentioned the other day that game Metal Gear Solid. All right, the guy's name, his code name was Snake, and if you go and look, those were characters that were played off one another. I'm not sure if Snake Plissken was supposed to be a play off of the video game character or vice versa, but yeah, there's similarities there. But anyways, yeah, this ain't Escape from New York. Okay, it ain't gonna be it's gonna be a chaotic time, but there ain't gonna be no way out of it. But there's only two ways out of it. That's by death through Jacob's trouble, or through salvation up into the chariots. And obviously, if you're not taken up into the chariots, you are not of the elect of the nation of Israel. And if you are a heathen, it doesn't really matter anyways. There's no hope for you. Okay. Um, Related, back in June, we reported that North Korea has already begun sending troops to Ukraine in anticipation of World War III. So if that's true, then you can obviously see how well they've hidden that, because we're now in October, moving into November. But anyway, it says Ukrainian spy boss says North Korean troops currently in Russia will be ready to fight by November 1st, which was the title to this to this article here. It says the NIS announcement and imagery came, and like I said, I got to look into it more. I saw it in a couple places, but because as we're reading here, North Korea is sending troops to Russia. But I think I read somewhere that South Korea was supposed to be sending troops to Ukraine. I'll see if I can find an article on that. Not now. I do it on my own time and get through what I have as of right now. Okay, but it's pretty much more of the same. Going into those scriptures that we just read, it's more of the same. All right, all the nations will be gathered for Armageddon 1 War 3. All right, the war to end all wars. Right. It says Defense Intelligence Directorate told the media that nearly 11,800 of the North Korean troops currently training in Russia will be ready to fight by November 1st. The NIS released its own statement confirming that North Korean soldiers are, in fact, stationed at Russian military bases in the Far East, including Vladivostok, Usyursk, Khabarovsk, and Blagoveshchensk, something like that. All of the North Korean troops currently training in Russia are expected to be deployed to the front lines as soon as they complete their adaptation training, the NIS further revealed, noting that all four of the aforementioned bases are located about 4,000 miles east of Ukraine. Okay, which, given the size of Russia, that ain't too far. Okay. It says the images released by, and so pretty much they're going to be, maybe not frontline, they're going to be close to those frontline troops, right? Whenever they, they dive in there. It says the images released by NIS claim to show at least 400 North Korean troops training at Usyursk and another 240 or so at Khabarovsk. So it says when the NIS first started observing North Korean troops training in Russia back in early August, one of its first detections was a first vice director of the munitions industry department of North Korea, Kim Jong-sik, visiting the North Korean KN-23 missile launch site near the Russia-Ukraine front line several times with dozens of North Korean military officers and providing on-site guidance. Jong Sik, by the way, is described as a key figure in North Korea's missile development. Since that time, the NIS has closely monitored the movements of North Korean military, having detected the country transporting its special forces to Russia via Russian naval transport ships from August 8th to the 13th, confirming the start of the North Korean military's participation in the war. All right, so we mentioned they claim, they were being moved way back in June. But then we have something here: Russian naval transport ships from August 8th to the 13th, confirming the start of the North Korean military's participation in the war. All right, so if they continue to move forward, North Korea will officially participate in the Russia-Ukraine war. All right, and we know who's back in Ukraine. It's not a mystery of who's funding them, which is pretty much wasted money. America doesn't give a damn about Ukraine, man. If they did, they come in there a lot more heavier and help out by now, as long as this has been going on. But at the same time, they know they can't go head up, just straight in there because Russia's right there waiting, right? So it's almost like a lose-lose, for the American side of things, or maybe even Ukraine too, because they're the ones actually fighting. All right, and they're getting their butts whooped. It says, in order to move these troops, the Russian Navy had to enter North Korean waters, marking the first time this has happened since 1900, right? In order to move these troops, the Russian Navy had to enter North Korean waters, marking the first time this has happened since 1900. I believe Russia was transporting, they were accompanying some North Korean ships, or it was either some Chinese ships or something like that recently. You had Russian fighters that were pretty much playing defense, for it was either some North Korean ships or some Chinese naval ships that were going to a destination. All right, but anyways, and we know, China is one of those big names in the BRICS. All right, from the core members being Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. It says for 4 landing ships and 3 escort ships belonging to the Russian Pacific Fleet completed the first transfer of approximately 1,500 North Korean special forces from the areas near Chongjin, Hamhung, and Musudan to Vladivostok, Russia, during the same period. And a second transport operation is expected to take place soon. Boasting more than 120,000 troops in total, North Korea currently has the world's largest special operations forces. All right. North Korea currently has the world's largest special operations forces. Special operations forces. All right. Numbered at 120,000 troops. It says these forces have 5 basic missions: conducting reconnaissance, performing combat operations in partnership with conventional operations, establishing a second front in South Korea's rear areas, countering South Korean and U.S. Special Operations Forces in North Korea's rear area, and maintaining internal security. All right, so in other words, for short, these boys ain't going there to play. All right, so and that was it for that article there. Coming from Natural News, it says South Korea claims North Korean troops will fight for Russia and Ukraine starting on November 1st. All right, so, and this was dated October 24th. So, all right, so moving on. All right, so this is something we posted recently in some world news. All right, the BRICS Summit. All right, it says key takeaways from the Kazan Declaration. All right. Give my screen a second. Let's jump in here. All right, so it says below are the key points from the Kazan Declaration issued by the BRICS group after a summit in Russia. I may click on the Kazan Declaration, but I don't want to take us away from the article and not be able to get back. So we'll get through the article first, and if I remember, Lord willing, we'll come and click on that and see where it takes us. So it says, on Ukraine, we emphasize that all states should act consistently with the purposes and principles of the UN Charter in their entirety and interrelation. We note with appreciation relevant proposals of mediation and good offices aimed at a peaceful resolution of the conflict through dialogue and diplomacy. On the Middle East, we reiterate our grave concern at the deterioration of the situation and humanitarian crisis in the occupied Palestinian territory. So they spoke on this. In particular, the unprecedented escalation of violence in the Gaza Strip and in West Bank as a result of the Israeli. Got a video playing there. I don't know what it is though, because I didn't click it. Anyway, it says of the Israeli military offensive, which led to mass killing and injury of civilians, forced displacement, and widespread destruction of civilian infrastructure. Yeah, speaking of displacement, uh, I talked for a few minutes with a woman yesterday who said that she was displaced from the flood that happened in here in the Carolinas. She said something. I don't know if it's just her service, because obviously if she came from whatever city that's flooded out, and that city's flooded, so wherever she paid her cell phone bill at, it's probably messed up, or I don't know. I don't think it works like that. But she was claiming how her signal wasn't working, and personally, I think it was just because the area that she was in. All right, so when you get around, you know, sometimes you get into Grimesley or into Stokes, your reception is not so great. That's because you're leaving the Greenville area, all right, where the city is, and then most of what's in Stokes and Grimes, and then are just smaller towns and things of that nature. So you're further and further away from, So yeah, that's probably what it was, because I had my GPS acting weird yesterday, for a short while there, and it was when I was in those particular areas, all right, in Stokes and those general areas there. So yeah, that's probably what it was. But she's probably thinking that it was maybe something that was going on back home from where she was displaced from for the flood. But anyways, um, so it says, did we read that? Yeah. It says, we express alarm over the situation in southern Lebanon. We condemn the loss of civilian lives and the immense damage to civilian infrastructure resulting from attacks by Israel in residential areas in Lebanon, and call for immediate cessation of military acts. On Western sanctions, we are deeply concerned about the disruptive effect of unlawful unilateral coercive measures, including illegal sanctions on the world economy, international trade, and the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. International financial systems reform. We don't need to read that, but it says, we underscore the need to reform the current international financial architecture to meet the global financial challenges, including global economic governance, to make the international financial architecture more inclusive and just. And bear with my screen, it's choppy there. BRICS Grain Exchange. Okay, on BRICS cross-border payment system. We recognize, and we just talked about the BRICS Pay going forward. They tested it there. All right. It's a little card. You can look it up, or you can look on my channel and see, I did an article talking about that. I'm pretty sure others have talked about it as well. So it says, we recognize the widespread benefits of faster, low cost, more efficient, transparent, and safe and inclusive cross-border payment instruments built upon the principle of minimizing trade barriers and non-discriminatory access. And that's that BRICS Pay card that they just talked about, and they just tested out, because everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's going digital. Everybody want to establish a digital bank, whether you would be with the West or you be with the BRICS. They're all going to establish a digital bank. All currencies are going to go digital. Your paper dollars or whatever currency that is your paper currency will be done away with. All right. So if these people are such enemies, how are they shooting for the same goals? So it says we welcome the use of local currencies in financial transactions between BRICS countries and their trading partners. Yeah, and so what BRICS have done is they're trying to make it so everyone can still use their own current currency, but the way that their system is set up, it's just like when you go from one country to another and you exchange, let's say American, dollars, you exchange your dollars for, some pesos when you go to Mexico, right? So they're trying to make it so where all their members can still use their own currency, all right? And so once it goes through their channel, which is through their whole system, all right, it works where everybody, even though they're dealing with their own currency, everything works together. So you can pay for whatever using your own currency, even if you're buying something from Russia or from China, all right? You're using your own currency to pay for whatever, but it's all going to work together because of the system that they're setting up. And all of that leads up to a digital system, which leads to the MOTV, right? And that's on both sides, whether you're BRICS or whether you're with the West, all right? So what else we have here? Clear depository. So as we agree to discuss and study the feasibility of establishment of an independent cross-border settlement and depository infrastructure. It says BRICS Clear, an initiative to complement the existing financial market infrastructure, as well as BRICS independent reinsurance capacity, including BRICS reinsurance company with participation on voluntary basis. On financial innovation, we welcome the BRICS Interbank Cooperation Mechanism, the ICM, focused on facilitating and expanding innovative financial practices and approaches for projects and programs, including finding acceptable mechanisms of financing in local currencies. Pretty much what we just talked about there. Let's see here. On the IMF, we affirm our commitment to maintaining a strong and effective global financial safety net with a quota-based and adequately resourced IMF at its center. They're not saying too much there. We recognize the importance of the continued and productive function of the G20 based on consensus with a focus on result-oriented outcomes. On prevention of future pandemics, we support the initiatives of BRICS R&D, Vicky Center, further development of the BRICS integrated early warning system for preventing mass infectious diseases risks. If there's going to be a pandemic, there's going to be a pandemic. And regardless of the side, they're all going to be in on it, okay? Unless, of course, the Lord does it directly himself and not through these devils. Then everybody's going to be at a surprise. But anyways, you get the point. Big cat, don't know what that is. I believe that's it down there. Shit with Patriot missiles. Zelensky says Russia to deploy. Okay, we just read that. King Charles not Spain for study passes. All right, so that's it for that article there. You go back to the top. It says BRICS Summit, key takeaways from the Kazan Declaration. And I didn't check. I'm not sure how long the summit is going to be, because I'm not sure if they're still, going through or if they're already done with it or not. So I'm not sure how long, because I know when that Davos, Switzerland meeting, I believe it goes on for like a few days. Sometimes like a week, at least a few days. But anyways, that's it for that article. So we'll continue forward and go and move on. All right, so last article here from Brazil de Fato, PDF.com. So it says BRICS approves Cuba, Bolivia, and 11 other countries as partner states. All right. So it says the Russian presidency is now holding consultations with these invited countries to formalize their membership. Okay. And as we just read in the scriptures, right? Wake up the mighty men, prepare wars, so on and so forth. Talks about the same thing in Ezekiel 38. It mentions, Russia being a guardian to these other nations. All right. So, this is what's happening right now. There's only, it's called a world war because all these nations are battling, but there's only two sides. All right. You're either with the West and whatever they got going on over there, State of Israel, NATO, EU, whatever the case may be, or you with the BRICS. All right. So regardless of who you fight for, there's only two sides in the war. Okay. It's just that many nations are going to be fighting amongst one another from each side, but they're still fighting for the same cause from that particular side. So there's only two sides in this World War III. All right. You with America or you with Russia. Okay. Because he's the guard to the other nations on that side, and America is the big dog on the opposite side. So it says here, BRICS leaders meet during plenary session at summit in Kazan on October 24th. All right, so all these are dated October 24th, all three articles here. So it says the BRICS countries have agreed to include 13 nations in the category of partner states. All right, it says in the association. However, the entry of these countries will not be made official during the summit, which is obviously ongoing now. All right, so it says, according to this definition, the Russian presidency will hold consultations with the partner countries to make membership of the BRICS official. right? It says the Russian presidency will hold consultations with the partner countries to make memberships of the BRICS official. So they're going to sit down and chop it up, okay? Um, See if we want this country in or not. All right, all these they have applied, so they're trying to make bigger moves there. All right, so that means the Lord never stops moving. But you get my point. It says the figure was confirmed earlier by Russian presidential aide Yuri Ushakov, or Ushakov, whatever. It says the group of countries invited to join the BRICS as partner states includes. Let me light it up, okay? No, I don't want that. All right, I want these, okay? So it says the ones it says includes Turkey, Indonesia, Algeria, Belarus, Cuba, Bolivia, Malaysia, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Thailand, Vietnam, Nigeria, and Uganda. All right. So it says the group of countries invited to join the BRICS as partner states. Read it again. Includes Turkey, Indonesia, Algeria, Belarus, Cuba, Bolivia, Malaysia, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Thailand, Vietnam, Nigeria, and Uganda. All right. So they're making moves over there. All right. And we know what they're planning. You know, and everything's also been leading up once again over and over and over World War III, where America will not make it. America will be destroyed in World War III, and that's what the scriptures say. It says, according to diplomatic sources from the Brazilian delegation in Kazan, heard by Brazil de facto, Venezuela was left off the list due to Brazil's veto, which was presented during the preliminary negotiations of the summit. It says Brazilian Foreign Minister Mauro Vieira stated that the leading BRICS countries have reached a consensus on the criteria and principles that will guide the bloc's future expansion. He made this announcement on Wednesday, and as we just mentioned, they're going to sit down and chop it up about these gaining new members. We don't know how long it'll be. We don't know exactly how the transition will be, but you know that's what they're looking for, which is why they have a BRICS Plus. Okay, BRICS are the core members. It started with Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and eventually was added on South Africa, and they became the core members, the BRICS. BRICS Plus are others that have joined up, with them already, like Saudi Arabia or United Arab Emirates, right? And I think there's a few more. I'll just mention those. Those are the ones I always remember off the top of my head. So it says he made this announcement on Wednesday, the 23rd, during a press conference with Brazilian media at the 16th BRICS summit in Kazan, Russia. The discussion focused on the criteria and principles for future BRICS expansion. Currently, there are 10 member countries, but there will be more in the future. These principles and criteria have been discussed, approved, and agreed upon, said Vieira. This has been our primary task in recent days, led by the Sherpas regarding the list of new members. So they're adamant about this, all right? So it says, regarding the list of new members, consultations will begin soon. The Russian presidency will consult with each current member, and we will announce the countries. If not by the end of the year, then next year. And the responsibility will pass to the Brazilian presidency, all right? He added. So it says, the final document of the 16th BRICS summit, the Kazan Declaration, confirmed the establishment of the category of BRICS partner countries, highlighted considerable interest from global South nations, right? And we talked about that. Go and look at the global North, and then look at the global South. See, America make it seems like the BRICS ain't making no noise, man. But go check those numbers out, all right? They may be significantly lower than what's going on with the global North, but those numbers are very important, man. And they're actually doing a lot. And we mentioned often from time to time China with their Belt and Roads Initiative. China's somewhere everywhere, man, doing a lot, man. Okay, but that's why the scriptures mention them. And Jeremiah has a whole chapter dedicated to Moab. All right, and then when you go to Second Ezra, the 15th chapter, they're also mentioned directly. Okay, again there because China is the place that has fashioned itself the most, closely after America. You want the nation that's closest to America, it's China, all right? And the Belts and Roads Initiative says a lot about that. It's no different from how America is able to, put sanctions on other countries. Not saying they have that power, but I'm just, giving you a comparison. Or how America has all this, import of goods and services, with export too, but the import is more major. All right. And a lot of trade by sea talks about this in Revelation chapter 18. All right. And when you own, when you're doing big like that, owning ports and things of that nature, all right, you got power. That's why I mentioned, who was it? The Prince of Tyrus, I believe it was the Prince of Tyrus, all right? Owning those, ports, all right, it gives you a whole lot of buying and selling power over other nations. And that's where America sits right now, in the power seat. But it's not because of America directly. We know who it stems back to, but I'm just making a point. So it says, according to the Russian authorities, more than 30 countries have expressed their According to the Russian authorities, more than 30 countries have expressed their desire to collaborate in some way with the BRICS group. Leaders from 36 countries attend the summit. Excuse me. Kazan, I'm gonna get a drink. So it says, leaders from 36 countries attend the summit in Kazan. According to the organizers of the 16th BRICS summit, 36 countries have sent leaders to participate. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is also attending the summit, prompting criticism from Ukraine. The Ukrainian Foreign Ministry criticized the fact that Guterres accepted Russian President Vladimir Putin's invitation to attend the BRICS summit, but abstained from the peace summit on the war in Ukraine. That's funny. The irony there, huh? The UN Secretary General rejected Ukraine's invitation to the first Global Peace Summit in Switzerland, said the Ukrainian ministry. This is a wrong choice that does not promote the cause of peace. It only damages the reputation of the UN, the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry said. And that's beautiful, because at the end of the day, the scriptures also speak about that. You got the iron mixed with the miry clay. All right, it's the same thing we just mentioned in Revelation chapter 17. All right, that whole NATO coalition, they're eventually going to have, odds so high with America that they're going to turn against them. All right, EU is going to break off or whatever. Okay, they're going to be at odds one with another. All right, what is Scripture saying? I believe it's in Jeremiah. She that bear you shall be sore ashamed, or something like that. All right. But anyways, yeah, all of them, all those countries are going to get together. Let me do this. Let me grab that right there. What was I just thinking about? Yeah. Let me go over here. Revelation chapter 17. All right. So it says, Revelation chapter 17, and let's start at 9. It says, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. All right. These are these vassal states, the NATO, the EU, and also you got the state of Israel with, in the back pocket. Actually, more so, it has America in its back pocket. But anyways, it says there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. All right, he's talking about Germania Major, Germania Minor, the French, the Spanish, and the Greeks. All right, the Greeks, Germania Major, Germania Minor, the French, and the Spanish. All right, it says, and one is, at the time this was written, that was the Roman Empire. All right, so that's 6. It says the other is not yet come, and that was talking about the British. It says, and when he cometh, he must continue a short space, because they went into the Revolutionary Wars, which is where these American Edomites gained their independence from the Edomites back east, in Europe and all this stuff, right? So it says, and the beast that was, which is the ancient Roman Empire, and it's not, because it went down at some point, but it came back up during the Renaissance period, and America is a result of it now. It says, even he is the 8th, and that's America. The 8th is America. It says, and is of the 7. The Greeks, the Romans, Germania Major, Germania Minor, the French, the Spanish, and the British. America is the 8th. All right, and it's an extension of the ancient Roman Empire. It tells you that in Daniel chapter 7, verse 7 and verse 8. Verse 8 goes into America. Verse 7 talks about the ancient Roman Empire. It says, and goeth into perdition, which is destruction. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdoms as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. And that's where your NATO and your EU comes in. It says, these have one mind, because they're vassal states. And it says it right here, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Okay, and that's the system that has come into play, right? And the whore that rideth that beast is America, Babylon the Great. She's the one mentioned in Revelation chapter 17, verse 5. It says, these shall make war with the Lamb, Yahweh Shai. It says, and the Lamb shall overcome them. And it's mentioned the same thing in Revelation chapter 12. All right, Michael and his angels fought, and so on and so forth. Esau is going to get destroyed. He's going to be taken out of power. Right? He's going to fall out of heaven, which is out of power. He's going to be taken out of power, more so. It says, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. It says, and he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, as we just mentioned, Revelation chapter 17, verse 5, the waters where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And this is the position that America sits in. And we just talked about that. In the power seat of the earth. It is the bully. It is the hammer of the earth. All right. But the Lord says he's going to roll them down from the rocks, all right, and make thee a burnt mountain. Just paraphrasing. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. They're going to turn on America at some point. Whatever the Lord has happened is going to happen. And that system or what is known as the beast system will be broken up, all right? NATO and the EU is going to turn against America, and they're going to burn it up, all right, off the map. It says, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And that's the nuclear missile we just talked about. It says, for God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, to be these vassals, all right, for a set time, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. All right, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which is America, which reigneth over the kings of the earth in the position of power. See? So let's go back over here to this article here. So it says, the UN Secretary General rejected Ukraine's invitation to the first Global Peace Summit in Switzerland, said the Ukrainian ministry. This is a wrong choice that does not promote. Okay, we just read that. So it says, according to UN spokesman Farhan Haq, I don't know how you pronounce his name, it says the Secretary General will reiterate his well-known stance on the war in Ukraine and the conditions for a fair and just peace based on the UN Charter, international law, and UN resolutions. All right, Haq pointed out that Gutierrez is attending the BRICS Summit in Kazan, just as he did in South Africa. So this is not his first rodeo. Then it says, and as this is standard practice for attending meetings of organizations such as the G7 and G20, which include many important states. Yeah, you got that right. Okay, and that was the end of that article there. BRICS Summit, Lula defends taxation in the super rich, Obamacare. Putin and the head of NDB, Dilma Rousseff, discusses global South development at the BRICS Summit. Cuba sends official request to join BRICS as partner member. Let's see what that says. It's pretty much the same as this article here. Right, official request to join BRICS Plus. Official request to join BRICS Plus as partner member. This is dated October 9th, so this is kind of old there. I read a similar article. It says more than 30 countries have already expressed the desire to be associated with the group's activities. Okay, so I don't really have to read into that. I already translated the page the first time. We don't need it now. It doesn't matter. Let's see what this one says. Putin and the head of NDB, Dilma Rousseff, discuss global South development at the BRICS Summit. The 16th BRICS Summits begin Tuesday with new members. This edition has the most extensive number of leaders present. Okay, and that's dated October 22nd, 2024. The 16th BRICS Summit officially began on Tuesday, the 22nd, bringing together the largest number of leaders of any previous edition. This marks the first summit in the group's expanded format, including new members from Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia. Okay, does this not line up with Ezekiel the 38th chapter? What's happening here? All this coming together. Okay. Ezekiel 38. All right, and I will and I will turn thee back, verse 4, and put hooks into thy jaws, Ezekiel 38 and 4, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Yeah, all of them having nuclear weapons and high level, offensive and defensive capabilities as well. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. All right. And those modern day Persians are the Iranians. You got Ethiopia and Libya, which are there in maybe so Libya is like East Africa. Okay, I believe it's a little down there on the side there, like right below the Horn of Africa. I'm correct. I might be thinking about another. But anyways, Ethiopia. I might be mixing up Libya and Ethiopia. But yeah, pretty much got north and north. We got east and northeast, that general area. I mean, you can look it up on the map. Basically, in general sense, they're in Africa. All right. It says with them, all of them with shield and helmet. All right. Talk about their troops, their armies, whatever they got. It says Gomer and all his bands. All right, which is over there in that general area where you have modern day and Turkey. Okay. It says the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, all the way stretching over there to Armenia. You see, where you on the map, you see Georgia, Armenia, all that over there next to what is like, I believe it's like the Black Sea. I believe the Black Sea is on the, I want to say the Black Sea is on the west, or the Baltic Sea is on the west, but you see right wedge right there between. I call it down there in the area. If you look at the landmass, I call it the Buddha Russia, because right down there at the bottom, you get those, Georgia, Armenia, and all that down there. So you can just look that up right there in that general area there. That's why it says Togarmah of the north quarters. It says, and all his bands and many people with thee. All right, all their army and whatever they got. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. All right. And that's what we read earlier in those other scriptures, preparing for war in Joel chapter 3, man. So it says, this marks the first summit in the group's expanded format, including new members from Egypt, Ethiopia, as we just read, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. Okay, it says the first day features intense bilateral meetings with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, meeting new BRICS Development Bank (NDB) President Dilma Rousseff, and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. During the meeting, Rousseff stressed that the expansion of the group and the development of projects between the countries of the Global South are priority themes for the new BRICS Development Bank. All right, that goes back into that BRICS Pay card that we were just talking about recently. I hope that we can have a greater expansion of the BRICS countries to the countries of the Global South, and that we can define the new paths that we should take in the coming years. Vladimir Putin, for his part, said that increasing payments in the national currencies of the BRICS countries will boost the independence of the members and help reduce geopolitical risks. Right? It says increased payments in local currencies make it possible to reduce debt service payments, to reduce debt service payments, right? Okay, increase the independence of the BRICS member countries and minimize, and that's what they're trying to do, be independent from the US dollar, right? De-dollarization, and minimizing geopolitical risks, and as far as possible in today's world, free economic development from politics. Excuse me. Says the Russian president also stated that the BRICS Bank has financed over 100 projects worth $33 billion in U.S. currency since 2018. All right. Putin will also hold bilateral talks with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Negotiations to find alternatives. We just mentioned it, right? Negotiations to find alternatives to the U.S. dollar's hegemony in the global financial system and the strengthening of alternative BRICS financial institutions are among the main items on the agenda, and it keeps leading right back to that BRICS pay card, right? The testing of it. It says, as are discussions on the accession of new partner members to the group, as we just read in the last article there. Okay. And we just read the same thing there. The BRICS expansion is a process in making, and the heads of state are going to discuss all the issues on the agenda, including new partners, modalities, and timelines, he said. More than 30 countries have expressed a desire to join BRICS. It says, at that summit, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, Argentina, and Saudi Arabia joined the group. Argentina subsequently refused to join, and Saudi Arabia remains undecided about official membership. All right, so that was that article there. Oh, I didn't get the headline for you. It's right here, though. Putin and the head of NDB, Dilma Rousseff, discusses Global South development at the BRICS summit. I didn't forget. Let me go back up here. Was it in this article? I'm not even sure. Let me see if I can. Maybe if it was in the translated page. Let me translate the page from Portuguese. Come on. All right. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm overlooking it. I'm not sure. There was something else that I wanted to click on. I said I would click on. Let me back up. Is this the original? Yeah, that was the original article. So yeah, it took me out. So yeah, I mean, I guess that was it because I can't find what it was that I was trying to click on there. That I said I would click on. Man, just closed everything out. All right, it's all good. Let's see if I can back up. Yeah, just close everything out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We got through all those articles there. So that's the end of that. Various articles. Lord willing, you will edify to next time. I'm sure I'm going to say shalom.